Our campus was alive last Saturday as Oklahoma moved to 1-0 with a dominant win over Illinois State, but this will be different. The Palace will be hopping as two of college football's all-time blue bloods collide in prime time. Oklahoma and Michigan at Owen Field. And hi, everybody. We welcome you into Sooner Game Day, brought to you by Taco Mayo. Tap the app and save up to 25% today. I'm Toby Rowland, alongside two of the all-time Sooner greats, my buddies Teddy Lehman and Gabe Eichert. Fellas, we've got Oklahoma and Michigan. We've been looking forward to this football game for years since we saw it on the schedule, and it is here.
Big one.
Can't wait. This is going to be fun. You can already feel everything building up, and the excitement's here, and there's a lot on the line, really, for both teams.
I want this game to be played. I don't think anyone wants this game to get over more than my wife, because I'm just pacing about the house, going through game plans in my head, talking through how we're going to win, like the strategies that we're going to implement. Let's just kick this thing off, man.
We're going to break it all down, but just, in general, off the top, it's Oklahoma and Michigan. It doesn't matter when they played or where. I mean, these are, two of the iconic programs in the history of this sport. But as you mentioned, Teddy, it's game two, it's week two. This is a big football game Saturday night.
It really is. And I feel like really for both teams, especially Oklahoma, I mean, this kind of sets the table for the rest of the season. And if you can go in, play really well, get a nice win against an opponent like Michigan, I think this gives you some momentum that we really haven't had in a while to push us forward towards conference play. I mean, this is a big one, and if you win it, they're just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
I think one of the big storylines for me is we've seen Oklahoma. We were building towards the move to the SEC, got our first taste of it last year, and it's a line of scrimmage league. There are very few programs in college football that have been as good as Michigan at the line of scrimmage over the last several years. So I feel like we're going to talk about Mateer and Underwood and all the skill guys, but really this is a test of everything OU's been building towards at the line of scrimmage, because this is an extremely physical Michigan team, and they're going to come in here and think they're going to win that battle. And I cannot wait to see how OU's offensive line and defensive line rise to the occasion.
Trench warfare.
Correct.
It's going to be battled in the trenches.
Correct.
Well, here's graphical proof of what I was talking about, these two programs. Michigan coming off 8-5 last season, but they closed the year by beating Ohio State and then Alabama in the bowl game. Quarterbacks, let's talk about them briefly. John Mateer and Bryce Underwood, those are the headliners in this football game. One of them a veteran, the other a true freshman, but a well-paid true freshman of the Wolverines. I can't wait. I don't know if it's as simple, Teddy, as whoever wins the quarterback matchup wins the football game, but this is a fun one to try to break down.
Yeah, well, winning the quarterback matchup is, as Gabe was talking about, is usually a sign of winning a bunch of other places. Yeah. I think our wide receivers match up really well with their secondary. I think that, we're probably going to open things up a little bit from what we saw in week one in the running game and try and figure some things out. And on the flip side, I think Underwood looked really good in week one. He was ahead of where I imagined he was going to be, but he hadn't seen a defense like this. And, we've got a good, experienced group. Not only are we good athletically, but this defense is able to do a bunch of different things. Venables can throw a lot at this group, and they can execute it out there. So he's going to see a bunch of looks that probably looks that we haven't seen.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk more about the defensive matchup in a second. Let's look back quickly to the Illinois State victory, 35-3 on Owen Field. Gabe, explosive plays or lack thereof was a problem last year for Oklahoma. 12 plays of 15 yards or more in the opener. A beautiful sight for Sooner fans.
No doubt about it, and the vast majority of those from the right arm of John Mateer. I really liked some of the things we saw in the passing game. Now, if you go on YouTube, there's plenty of people that will tell you John Mateer was awful in this game. He's the only quarterback in the country that missed some reads, apparently. I talked to Arbuckle about it yesterday. He's like, dude, no one plays a perfect game. But it was really encouraging to see some of those timing throws, those anticipatory throws, especially the ones in the middle of the field, which is just not an area of the field that we have exploited in the last couple of years offensively. I really liked what I saw from John Mateer, and I expect us to have similar success throwing the football in this game because it's going to be really tough to run it against Michigan's defensive front. That is a veteran, big, strong, powerful group. But I think we have an advantage with our wide receivers against their defensive backs. It all comes down to Mateer feeling comfortable in the pocket. The pockets were clean against Illinois State. He was able to go through his progressions, read things out, and step into throws, deliver accurate footballs. If the pockets are clean on Saturday night, I expect John Mateer to have a big night.
Teddy, big picture on defense. They give up only 3 points, and really that was the offense's fault. Seemed pretty solid across the board defensively.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. I thought the defensive line performed really well. I thought the backers were sharp. I think the corners, that was one of the trends through training camp is that, hey, man, we may have some real talent at corner, and Gentry, especially if Gentry Williams is going to be healthy and be out there. And I think that's exactly what you saw. Really clean. What I liked is, they only ended up playing like 46 snaps of defense, I believe. And even in those 46 snaps, we saw a ton of different guys go through there. Good rotation on the D-line and edge, played multiple linebackers, same in the secondary. So I think we're in a really good spot, should be fresh getting going into this one. So, I think that was a good performance that they can build on.
You had them for 2 missed tackles, is that right?
Yeah, you could probably be a little bit tougher. Like some of the inside stunts where a D lineman is coming free, but he's like lunging for a play. I didn't check that as a missed tackle, but they tackled really well as a team.
All right, thumbnail sketch on Michigan. Bryce Underwood, as you mentioned, the 5-star true freshman quarterback, $12 million NIL, I believe it was. Looked good in his debut. And guys, you mentioned defensively, 9 tackles for loss against New Mexico in their opener. Only allowed 50 yards rushing. This is a balanced team, Gabe, on both sides of the football. They're tough.
Yeah, and I think their biggest strength is at the line of scrimmage. Really well coached, and no surprise at all, right, with Sharon Moore being a former offensive lineman. Really well coached along the offensive line, really physical, well coached, played with good technique on the defensive line. But yes, Bryce Underwood is very, very talented. Now, with Mateer's experience, he's played in some big environments. He's played in an Apple Cup. I don't think he's ever played in a game that's going to be like the environment we're going to get in this one, but Underwood's never seen anything like this. Now, all indicators are that he's going to be really good, but he's still a true freshman making his second start in college football. So you have to feel like OU's got the advantage at the quarterback position heading into this one, Ted.
Yeah, well, I feel like one of the unknowns is, week one, you're not exactly sure what people are throwing out there. How tight to the vest are they playing it? Well, I know we've got extra gears. I know we got a lot more we can do with Mateer. I don't know how much more they can do with a true freshman quarterback coming on the road, his first road start against the defense.
Maybe run him a bit more.
That's the easiest thing I think you can get to. Like when you watch week one, a lot of quick throws, getting the ball out fast, and a lot of that is his ability to be, but a big portion of that's play calling. And if they don't open it up and they are still pretty vanilla, like they're worried about putting the game in his hands, it's going to be really tough against this defense.
Quick look at the Michigan defense from last week. They will be without, by the way, Jayshon Barham, maybe their best player. He's a linebacker who was called for targeting in the second half against New Mexico. They'll be without him in the first half of this game Saturday night, but they got plenty of other talent, Teddy, to go around him.
They do. Big and physical up front. And, they lost 2 draft picks on the defensive line a year ago, but they've gathered a really nice group of guys. As they see it, they say they've got 6 starters in those interior 2 positions, which is great depth. They run really well at backer. They're physical at backer. The safeties come down and support the run really well, really physical. I would say, though, I think the matchup I like the most There's questions at corner for him. And I think that feeds right into the strength of our offense.
All right, deep dive into the Oklahoma offense. When we come back, we're getting you set for the matchup of the week in college football this week, Oklahoma and Michigan. Stay tuned. You're watching Sooner Game Day, brought to you by Taco Mile. John Mateer lived up to the hype in the opener against Illinois State. He was magnificent, breaking Baker Mayfield's record for passing yards in a debut, 392 through the air. Number 10 looked the way everybody hoped he would look against the Redbirds, and that's where we start this segment here on Sooner Game Day. There's the numbers: 81% completions, 3 touchdowns, and 392 yards.
But he missed 3 reads.
You got to stop watching the internet.
He missed 3 reads, T-Row. How are we going to win with this guy?
Other than that, how did you feel like John Mateer played?
I thought he was great. I thought he was great. I really liked his demeanor on the field, on the sideline, being down there on the sideline, getting to watch just how he operates during a game. Just confident, cool, collected, just great leadership on the field, on the sideline. I mean, this guy is everything we wanted him to be, and we kept things pretty simple offensively. We did not get too much QB run game at all. We know how athletic he is. We know how his legs are a weapon, but I really, really liked what I saw in the passing game from him, Ted. Accurate, on time, throwing guys open, even the interception. Mm-hmm. I thought that ball was where it needed to be to Deion Burks. But yeah, I have very, very few complaints about what I saw from number 10.
Yeah, and I like that we're going to use the whole field. He's going to do the quick stuff right there at the line of scrimmage. He's going to be able to work the middle of the field like you were talking about earlier. That's something that we haven't seen a whole lot of. He's going to trust his guys pushing down the field. We saw the little fade route he threw to Burks, who was blanketed over there. Trust him to go make a play, and he did. I think it's all there. People are going to nitpick on his mechanics, or maybe he missed a read here or there.
That's a good throw, right?
Yeah, I thought he was excellent. And I love how quick and decisive he is getting the ball out. I mean, it's got to happen fast. And maybe it's not a great representation in that game because you talked about it. The pocket was super clean, but you're playing Michigan this week. You're playing Auburn coming up. Things are going to happen really fast, and that's the clock that he's got right now. He's been going up against our defense through the spring and through training camp, and you can tell
that's a good point.
He's sped up. He's trying to get that ball out in a hurry.
And things are not going to be as clean as they were last week against Illinois State, against Michigan in the pocket.
Yeah.
This is a power rushing defensive line from Michigan. A lot of long arm, a lot of bull rush, a lot of trying to collapse the pocket. And they're going to be cognizant of what he can do with his legs as a scrambler. So Mateer's going to have to throw from a condensing pocket. Don't panic. You don't have to change anything compared to what you did a week ago. You just have to trust your offensive line that they're going to protect you. They're going to give you the proper time. Step in the throws just like you did a week ago.
Run game struggled. Certainly didn't push him around like you would hope against an FCS opponent. The freshman Torrey Blaylock looked pretty good, but he's dinged up. Looks like he might not play this week. How concerned are you about the offensive line and the run game, Gabe?
Well, I didn't love what I saw. I don't think anyone did. I think those offensive linemen would be the first to tell you that they did not play up to the standard that they have for themselves. That being said, we're getting some guys back this week. I fully anticipate Michael Fasusi and Derek Simmons to play at both tackle spots, and those guys are talented. I mean, those guys are talented. Now, how about Fasusi? Your first college football game, primetime ABC College Game Day against Michigan to get a bunch of veteran ends from Michigan.
He's going to have an out-of-body experience walking out there.
What an opportunity. I'm so happy for that kid. But I think when you look at the matchup, some of the stuff that didn't look great against Michigan, I thought the counter stuff looked disjointed. The tight end is the second puller, kind of not knowing where to fit, not reading the guard's block properly. That's got to get cleaned up. But I do think against Michigan, it's a better mentality to kind of spread these guys out. They want to play in a phone booth. They want you to get into 12 personnel with 2 tight ends on the field and run power at them. That's
Big Ten football.
That's what they practice against all year long with their offense. I would like to see Oklahoma spread them out a little bit more. And Ben Arbuckle's got a bunch of that stuff that he utilized when he was the offensive coordinator at Washington State. So I think we'll see some more spread runs. I also think we'll see John Mateer get more involved in the run game so that we can gain an extra hat in the blocking scheme. And when Mateer runs, get what's there and then get down. This is
Jade Knott?
Jade Knott, yeah.
Okay.
Blaylock can't go.
It's the great mystery of college football in week 1. So
your guess is as good as mine,
right.
T-Row. But, we talked to Arbuckle on Coach's Corner this week, and everything he told us was that Ott's ready to roll. So can't wait.
Yeah. Run game struggled. Passing game did not. In fact, the wide receivers were fantastic. Keontez Lewis, 119 yards. That's more than any receiver had in any game for OU last year. Deion Burks started strong. He had a touchdown as well. And Jaren Kanak, 5 catches for 90 yards. It's still tough for me. Every time I see 12 catch a football, my immediate thought is Drake Stoops. But he's a little bigger than Drake was. And the passing game, the wide receivers looked very good, Ted.
Yeah, I thought they were great. And I think the versatility we've got at that position is outstanding. Keontez Lewis gives you some size, outside receiver. He can come in, work the middle of the field, where you're going to get hit on some of those dig routes, and he's going to be fine. And then with Burks and Satania, the speed, the quickness, the athleticism. Throw Jacob Jordan in there, who came in and always open. And, he had a little imprint on the game as well. And then you mix in Kanak, and I think that Kanak is going to continue to develop as a weapon for this offense. I'm hoping his role gets bigger and bigger. In the blocking game, that's going to be a work in progress for him. He excels with the ball in his hand. The more we can get him the football in the flat against corners and secondary players, the more damage he's going to do.
I think he can have a big game against Michigan, and here's why. New Mexico's got a tight end, very talented as a route runner and a pass catcher. Not gonna wow you as a blocker. Mm-hmm. He had 10 catches against Michigan. And had even more targets, 14, 15 targets. So clearly New Mexico found success with that tight end kind of H-back body. I don't see any reason why Jaren Kanak can't have a massive impact on this game as a pass catcher.
I'm also officially starting the Jaren Kanak at running back fan club. If anyone wants to join in,
member?
I say hand that man the football.
Okay. We know he's got speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, the track videos.
Are we talking like downhill run game? Or are we talking like we're speed sweeping?
Yeah.
This is
all of the above.
Was it Dimitri Flowers against Iowa State?
That's
when
right.
we were out of running backs a few years ago, and he just
handed him the rock.
Handed him the rock.
Especially, I do think like short yardage.
Yeah.
Kanak's a great option in some of those situations.
6'2" and a bunch of pounds too. Isaiah Satania, by the way, didn't do much in the receiving game, but he looked very good as a punt returner. Had his most explosive return called back because of a block in the back, but still averaged 16 yards a return, had a long of 21. Looks like this might be something for them, Gabe.
He is smooth and he is fast. He may not look like he's running that fast because he's so smooth. I think that goes to the track background, having great technique, Ted, in the drive phase. You know what I'm saying? He's loose, he's relaxed, and I know that he didn't have big numbers as a receiver, but there were a couple situations on some of those deep over routes where I was surprised Mateer didn't let it rip and give him a chance. And that is just from the way that Michigan plays coverage defensively. I think he's going to have a couple of those opportunities again. He runs that deep over route really, really well and just flies across the field with a ton of speed. I would not be surprised at all if he catches a couple of those against the Wolverines.
I agree. I mean, what I like about that group is I don't think you'd be shocked if any one of them end up being the leading receiver on a given day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the versatility you get.
9 different guys caught passes against Illinois State. 3 of them were tight ends, which is of note if you watch Sooner football the last couple of years. We'll take a break. We're talking OU defense next as we get set for this massive matchup between the Sooners and the Wolverines. You're watching Sooner Game Day. Sooner defense looked stout in week 1 against Illinois State. They allowed only 151 total yards. Just the 3 points that came after the offense turned the ball over. They only allowed 2 explosive plays on the day. Pretty good start for new defensive coordinator Brent Venables and the Oklahoma defense. There they are by the numbers. Jaden Jackson.
What's the demeanor he's going with in that headshot?
Looks like they caught him between.
Yeah, it looks like they caught him like mid. Am I trying to look serious? Am I going to smile?
He can do whatever he wants.
Whatever
he wants.
If he keeps playing the way he's been playing, I don't care what the man does.
Let's start with BV back, in the driver's seat. Not that he probably didn't have a lot of say in what happened last year when Zach Alley was here, but now it's undeniable. Ted, did you notice anything significant scheme-wise or how they went about things with Venables back in charge?
Well, I mean, it was all pretty straightforward stuff. This week, I expect it to be way more complex. We did throw a couple of different packages out there. We had a sub package where we had 6 DBs out there. Heineke and Kendall Daniels were the 2 inside backers, just 3 guys across the front. We came in and out of that package quite a bit. And that may be something that they build on, and I'm sure there's plenty of other fronts that we'll get in as well. But for game 1, you got a big one in week 2. I think it was pretty straightforward stuff, and they executed it pretty good. And again, like with this group, there's so much experience. A lot of these guys have been in this system for 3 years now. The playbook is big. And this week, I imagine we're going to get to a lot of stuff. It'll be multiple fronts, multiple personnel groupings, some exotic coverages and blitzes. It's going to be much bigger than it was in week 1, but the execution I thought was really good. I mean, you go 46 plays. There was only a handful of times where you thought guys were maybe lined up wrong or maybe got the wires crossed a little bit, and they were able, because of the playmaking ability and athleticism, able to limit a lot of that stuff. But I think it's going to open up quite a bit this week.
If you had to highlight one part of the defense, the secondary or the pass defense would probably deserve the most flowers. They give up only 34 passing yards, broke up 5 passes. Ted, Gabe, both of you, Gabe, I'll start with you. I mean, we saw a freshman start back there. We saw the return of Gentry Williams. It's Illinois State, but they look great.
Gentry Williams looks fantastic physically, and then when you watch the tape, just his understanding of where he fits in this defense in a lot of the zone coverage concepts, it's just clear he has a fantastic understanding of where he is supposed to be and how he's supposed to leverage everything. And Ted, I loved what we saw from Guillory. I know he had the 1 PI, but I thought one of the most encouraging things in the entire game defensively was, okay, he's got that play, he gets called for it. Not much later in the game, he gets something very similar from a route concept and plays it perfectly.
Yeah, no, I think that the corner spot has been one of the pleasant surprises that we've seen up to this point. Both of those guys really aggressive. Gentry Williams, since he's been here, is really, really good attacking the plays at the line of scrimmage. Guillory is as competitive as they come, exactly what you want in a corner. The thing that does worry you, as aggressive as we are there, some of the double move stuff, max protection, maybe a little play action and double move, and see if they can get those guys to bite on something short and turn it into an explosive. But I love the way they compete out there, and the depth that we have. Those guys played most of the game, but we've got some other bodies that we can roll through there that are solid as well. And the guys over the top, the safeties, there's a lot of trust. As a corner, you got to trust the guys on the back end to have your back on some things and give you some coverage over the top. And we've got good depth there, and I don't know. I really like the way that matchup is trending right now.
Peyton Bowen flashed a couple of times back there as well. He looked good. All right, if anything concerns you or an area where they need to improve going into week 2 defensively, Ted? What would you say it would be?
Well, from nothing that I would say I saw in week 1 that carries forward, but, just like I talked about, some of the double move stuff, when you have a really aggressive defense, people are going to try and use that against you. Reverses, throwback screens, use the momentum of that defense that's flying to the football and counter it. That's the one thing that I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm worried about it, but it's one of those things that you better have buckled down, because they're going to use the way we fly to the football and how aggressive we are at corner. They're going to try and find a way to use that against us.
Creased a couple of runs, Gabe, Illinois State did. Not big, but concerning at all?
That was, out of all the things in a game where we played really well defensively, those were the moments where you went, okay, I don't love that, right? You had a couple of instances where it was Peyton Bowen on one and
Omarion Robinson
on the other, where if they don't make the play, now it's their job, it's called safety for a reason.
Right.
But if they don't make that play, those are some big, huge chunk runs for Illinois State. That was the only thing really where you went, okay, I don't love that. Everything else from OU's defense in that game was great.
And that tackle is going to be much more difficult this week.
Justice Haynes
coming at you.
Legit.
He's legit. And Marshall, the number 2 back, is really solid as well.
Yeah, the Michigan running game is impressive. All right, we'll take a timeout. Speaking of the Wolverines, we'll put them in the spotlight next. It's Oklahoma, Michigan this Saturday on Owen Field. This show brought to you by Taco Mayo. Stay with us. The only previous meeting between Oklahoma and Michigan came at the end of the 1975 season. This is the 1976 Orange Bowl. Those guys could play a little bit of football right there. The Selmans, Leroy making a tackle. Look at this, the end around to Billy Brooks swim move in the backfield. And
Chris
he's
Berman
gone.
when you need him.
Billy Brooks was bigger than I realized in my memory. That was a 39-yard touchdown. Sidney Brown had a big interception to stop a Michigan drive. Steve Davis had a big pickup in the fourth quarter, and Oklahoma won it 14-6 to win the national championship. They will meet again. What is that? 30 years? 50 years later. 50 years later.
Good math.
Crazy.
I don't know why I said 30. 50 years later on Owen Field on Saturday night. And the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines is a former Sooner. You know this by now. Sharon Moore took over for Jim Harbaugh last year. Nice job last year, especially at the end of the season. Got the win over Ohio State, the win over Alabama in the bowl game. Former Sooner offensive lineman back in the mid-aughts.
Oh, there he is.
Won a couple of Big 12 championships. He's 77 right there on your screen. Getting to the next level,
Look
Gabe.
at that face mask.
And
That's
there
what stands out.
top of the screen there, 77, celebrating a Big 12 championship.
Right next to our guy, Austin English. Man.
Think about his introduction, though, and all the controversy that's been swirling around Michigan. I mean, it's not an easy time to just step in and take over. I know the program is in a good position, but a lot of distraction going on.
He's been pretty steady, pretty unflappable. He's handled it well. It's the second straight year that a former Sooner has led their blue blood program. I don't know if Tennessee falls in that category, but Tennessee big-time program last year with Josh Heupel comes back. This year it's Sharon Moore and Michigan. All right, let's talk about the Wolverines. This is The Scoop, brought to you by Brahms Ice Cream and Dairy Store, farm fresh for over 50 years. Michigan offense. We talked about Bryce Underwood, Teddy, Justice Haynes, the Alabama transfer at running back. What do you see from the offensive attack? It might look a little different than it has the last few years for them.
Yeah, well, in week 1, it was pretty much what you see is what you get with Michigan. They've got their downhill run game, power, counter, inside zone stuff. They do a really good job. Big offensive line, blocks it up really well. They got a great group of tight ends. Their tight ends and fullback are as good as you're going to see out there, and there's about 4 of them. They do a great job. The passing game was pretty basic stuff. You did get to see a 2-minute drill from them and execute that, but a lot of stuff pretty close to the line of scrimmage, getting the ball out of the quarterback's hands quickly. Now, the question for me is, they brought in a new offensive coordinator, Chip Lindsey. He's got a background a little bit more spread-oriented, a little bit more quarterback run game-oriented. Wonder how much of his influence we see on the offense this week and how much more quarterback run game we get. Do they open up the pass game a little bit more and get more complex? Or is this what they're going to be this year with the true freshman at quarterback? I mean, that's the question for me. You see some RPO stuff as well from them, which is dangerous because when they start running the football, all the attention goes into the backfield so they can hit you on some of those quick RPO actions if you're not in position.
Mentioned Justice Haynes, the running back. He had this is the first touchdown run coming up right here of the game, 57 yards, I believe it was.
Zone.
He would have another 50-plus yard run in this game. Good vision, and he can go if he gets in the open field.
Yeah, Bama transfer. Last time I checked, Alabama still.
Well,
you went there as a skill guy.
Yeah, I'm
maybe
with you.
I see what
He
you're
got
saying
out
too,
in
bro.
time,
But
yeah.
yes, he's extremely talented. I mean, he is, and he's got good power. He's got good vision, and then really good acceleration. He's a one-cut guy. He's not a guy that's going to do a bunch of dancing in the backfield behind the line of scrimmage. When he sees it, he is pouring it downhill and getting through the crease that he sees. It's going to be a big challenge to slow Justice Haynes down.
He's a number 22. 23, Jordan Marshall, as Teddy was talking about, really good running back as well. So, Teddy, how do you slow down this offense?
Well, you got to stop the run. You've got to be gap sound. You got to tackle well, and you got to know what you're seeing. And they are going to get to the same handful of plays a bunch of different ways with a bunch of different personnel groupings, shifts pre-snap, motions from everywhere, and you've got to communicate really well. You got to stay in your gap. And you got to play with low pads because they're coming off. Their tight ends get up to the next level really well. Their fullback is a people mover. He is really good. He plays
Max
a
Bredesen.
He is the best in the country.
Yeah, he is really solid. You got to. I mean, it's a really a fundamentals game. You got to play your gap with good technique. You got to tackle well. If you can do all of those things and handle those responsibilities. I mean, the ultimate goal, as everyone knows, is put the true freshman in 3rd and long, make him beat you from the pocket with this crowd, with this atmosphere, trying to communicate the snap count. That's ultimately where you got to get. But it all starts with stopping the run and being good on 1st and 2nd down.
All right, Michigan on defense. Wink Martindale is their defensive coordinator. This is where they have hung their hat for many years now. It's Michigan. Jayshon Barham, their best linebacker, maybe their best player on that side of the ball, out the first half. He'll be there in the second half after that targeting penalty. But they still have TJ Guy. They still have Derek Moore. They still have Ernest Hausman. Gabe, this is a very good Michigan defense.
Yeah, it is a physical, the word I use for it, it's a violent group. And that's about the nicest thing you can say about a defense in football. But I think when you look at their defense as a whole, the strength of it is that core, the 4 defensive linemen and the inside backers. The secondary, I'm not sure they trust their corners, and I think it more has to do with like the second corner spot. Maybe they're not getting the type of play that they want from that spot, but it really comes down to winning the battle at the line of scrimmage. Michigan is going to come in here thinking they are the more physical team. It's what their program's identity is. And it's up to OU's offensive line and tight ends and backs to go, no. That's not the case. Welcome to Norman. So it's a big challenge, but I cannot wait to see how OU's offensive line responds to this challenge.
How do you attack these guys, specifically how they like to defend? What's the game plan on offense for OU?
I think it's got to be a big game from John Mateer.
Yeah.
And I think he's got to do smart things with his legs. I mentioned it earlier. Get what's there, get down, because this is a Michigan team that will strike you when they arrive at the football. It feels like it's a game where our biggest advantage is our wide receivers against their secondary. If you feel like that's the biggest advantage, you got to attack that.
Go at it.
Explosive plays in the passing game, attack the middle of the field. They are willing to give up short and intermediate throws to the sideline by design with the way that they play coverage. So I think attacking them through the air, like would I love for OU to run for 300 yards in this game? I will rip my shirt off if that happens down on the field.
Nobody needs that.
But I think the most likely thing is you're going to win this game throwing the football and having Mateer make plays.
30 seconds each on My Pleasure, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Download the Chick-fil-A app and order your favorites ahead of time. What would bring you the most pleasure, Teddy, watching this game on Saturday?
Forcing some turnovers from the true freshman quarterback. If we can stop the run and put him in some tough spots, bring some blitzes, change the coverage, and pick him off a couple of times and frustrate him, I think that's going to tell the story.
Gabe?
A couple explosive touchdowns, 30-plus, 40-plus yards. I think the explosion that our skill guys, especially our wide receivers, have, I think we have the advantage against Michigan. So if we can be the team that has those big, explosive, game-changing plays, that would bring me a lot of pleasure.
Especially if we can make them play from behind. That's
no
what
doubt.
you want Michigan playing from behind.
They don't want to play from behind.
Take a break. We're going to make our picks next. I think I'm going to get out of here. I think we got a special guest going to join for the pick segment.
He's
next.
lurking. I see him. He's lurking.
Thank you to our cornerstone television partners, OU Health, OG&E, Fowler Auto Group, and Coca-Cola. Sooner Game Day is presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Riverwind Casino. It's always a good time. The Sooner Sports Podcast is your all-access audio pass to Sooner Sports. Listen as Toby Rowland and Chris Plank talk all things Sooners. Log on to Soonersports.com/podcast or search Sooner Sports Podcast in your favorite podcast provider. The Sooner Sports Podcast is presented by Allstate and Riverwind Casino. Sooner Game Day is presented by Sooner Kids Club. Log on to Soonersports.com/kids for information about joining the Kids Club presented by OG&E and brought to you in part by Devon Energy. One Oklahoma, powered by Sooner Sports Properties. Fan-fueled, athlete-focused. OU's 2025 football games are available on Ritmo 96.5 FM in Oklahoma City and 101.5 FM El Patron in Tulsa, as well as on these stations' websites. Each OU Spanish broadcast will feature a 30-minute pregame show and a 15-minute postgame show.
Welcome back to Sooner Game Day. Let's take a look at our picks from week one. And Teddy, Ofer.
Hey, you know, a little bit of adversity early. Every season, you never know what you're going to get. You know, it's going to hit sometime. Mine hit in week one. It's okay. Now I know what I'm faced with.
I'm out to an early lead. I feel good about things. We have a very special guest for our Game Day Pick'em this week, brought to you by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind Casino, always a good time. Stanford Steve, what's up, man?
Gentlemen, pleasure to be here. Awesome to be back in Norman. Seeing everybody walk around at class on Friday. You guys didn't have class on Friday.
No
chance.
I may have had it, but you know, I don't know if I was walking around.
Good man.
All right, guys, let's get to our Game Day Pick'em, brought to you by Riverwind. First game, Steve. The Illini traveling to take on Duke. Mensa, Altmaier, who do you like to win the game?
I look at the toys that Manny brought in on Duke's offense, the receivers, they could go. I think this team from Duke proposes challenges that Illinois is not accustomed to. I like Duke in the upset.
Wow. Okay. I was going to go with Illinois, but you got to know what your limitations are.
You went over in week one.
I'm going Duke. Okay. I'm hitching my wagon on this one.
There is nothing that I'm more passionate about in football than outside zone. Illinois is an outside zone football team. Give me the Illini, boys. All right, next game. Baylor traveling to Highland Park to take on SMU. Who do you like?
It's kind of like that game we just talked about. And you look at the spreads of games, it's a ranked team giving points to an unranked team, but not a lot. I really like what I saw from Baylor's offense last week. I know they messed up in a bunch of critical situations. I think Sawyer's the real deal. I think he's top 3 quarterback in the country, and he'll be there in the first round in the NFL draft. I still wonder how much SMU lost. I like Baylor in a must-get spot. I like Baylor.
Yeah, I like Baylor too. I mean, what they saw on the line of scrimmage from Auburn is not what they're going to see from SMU. Give me Baylor.
I like Baylor. Main reason, Michael Trigg, tight end.
How about the weight? Always open.
Always open.
He was in the weight room in the offseason.
No doubt about it. All right, moving on to the next game. We've got Cy-Hawk. Iowa State in Ames. Who you like?
Again, ranked team, undefeated, given a couple points. Rivalry. Everyone talks about how bad Gronowski looked at quarterback. I can't go against Ferentz in this game. I will take the Hawkeyes.
I'm going Iowa State. Trust their defense. I think they got the better quarterback. I think they get it done.
Iowa, outside zone. Give me the Hawkeyes. Moving on to the next one. We've got Arizona State traveling to Starkville. Interesting matchup here, Steve.
Yeah, when you look at the game last year, before we knew anything about Arizona State, Mississippi State was in that game. That was in Tempe. Levitt's worst game of the year. Mississippi State, huge spot. You know, we don't know where they're going to finish in the SEC, but it's an SEC Big 12. It's a big, big game that we're going to look back on the whole season. Cowbell pulls the upset.
Ooh, okay. I'm taking Arizona State in this one. I like the quarterback. I like the momentum of the program.
Love our guy Levy, but give me Sam Levitt and the Sun Devils. Last game, Ole Miss going to Kentucky. Kentucky program, vibes are a little off, Steve.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Didn't look great last week. Ole Miss, I mean, they're in the playoff if they don't give up that 4th and 20 last year to Kentucky. You got to think Lane's had this one circled. They had 600 yards of offense in that game and lost. Ole Miss bounces back in a big way.
I totally agree. Give me Ole Miss, and I think they put it on them.
Ole Miss for me as well. Thanks, Steve. You're the man.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back here on Sooner Game Day.
Sooner Game Day is presented by Air Comfort Solutions. Your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today. Coca-Cola. Fan work is thirsty work. Enjoy a Coca-Cola. OG&E. We energize life. OU Fan Shop. The best place to gear up for game day is shop.soonersports.com. OU Health. Oklahoma's only comprehensive academic health system.
Take a look at our NCAA update brought to you by Taco Mayo. Tap the app and save up to 25% today. 4 top 10 teams go down in week 1. Texas, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Alabama all suffer defeats. Time now for our look at Sooners in the NFL, brought to you by One Oklahoma, powered by Sooner Sports Properties, fan-fueled, athlete-focused. Thursday night, Jalen Hurts against CeeDee Lamb, both represented well. CeeDee, 7 catches, 110 yards. The Eagles got the win.
Wild game.
Crazy game.
He needed an 8th catch.
Yeah, he did.
That last drive. CeeDee, of course, you know, arguably the best wide receiver in all of football. He's going to want a couple of those back.
Spitting facts is what you are. You're spitting facts right there. All right, we close it out with the hot takes every week, brought to you by Air Comfort Solutions, your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today. OU Michigan, hot take, Teddy.
I think Oklahoma has one of those defensive performances that we all say it's back. Defense is back at Oklahoma. 1 touchdown for Michigan.
Wow.
Gabe, 20 seconds.
Jaren Kanak goes over 100 yards receiving.
Ooh.
I know that some of the blocking stuff needs to get cleaned up, but throw the man the football.
I like it.
Kickoff just after 6:30 Saturday night on Owen Field. Oklahoma and Michigan Blue Bloods collide. We'll see you next week. Boomer Sooner, everybody.